What's up guys, this is Matt, and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. Now, in the last video, it was kind of an introduction. I showed you how to generate a world and how to set up your team of dwarves for their embark. And here we are, as you see on the screen, our dwarves have embarked. This is the location that we chose in the last video. Now, you're going to see up here in the top left that the game does start paused, and that's good. You don't want anything happening right now. You kind of want to get your bearings. You want to know what's going on around you in the world. Now, this interface, in my opinion, is cluttered. In the center of the screen right now, you will see this is a list of all of the controls for the game. The first thing I normally do, you can see right here, tab. It's going to move this menu and the map. Right now on the left, you have, this is your most zoomed in screen that you're going to see. These are, you see chickens or maybe ducks or something else that we brought with us. You can see some dogs and you can see some dwarves. They're usually depicted by what kind of job they have. These guys right here are miners. You can see some trees. This, on the other hand, on the far right side of the screen is a world map. We don't really need to see that. I can see that there's some mountains up north and we're on some grasslands right now. I don't care about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press tab right here. I'm going to press tab once to get rid of that map, and now I'm going to press tab again, and it's going to move the controls to the side of the screen. This is how we're going to play most of Dwarf Fortress in this series, and probably a little bit in the future I'm going to get rid of the menu altogether once I know all the buttons on the right side of the screen. For right now, actually, I'm going to get rid of those, and I'm going to show you how to look around the map. Let's figure out what's around us. So I'm going to press tab again, and right now you can use the arrows on your numpad or your arrow keys, and we're just going to kind of look around the map a little bit. Now, the important thing to understand in Dwarf Fortress is the difference between X and Y and Z. Now, I'm talking about on a coordinate map. So, I don't know if this is exactly right, but for our instance, let's say that X is horizontal, so moving left and moving right, and let's say Y is up and down on the screen. Now, in Dwarf Fortress, you also have to worry about the Z level. So that's going in and going up. You're going to control the Z levels, not with the arrow keys, but instead with the greater than and less than symbols on the keyboard, or the comma and the period. I've also heard them called pointy brackets, whatever you want to call them. It's those two keys. The left one will go up a level, and the right one will go down a level. You could also see what level you're on down here in the bottom right hand of the screen. So in this particular case, we're starting off on the 133rd level. So here we are, we're up, and now we're down. The next important thing that you need to understand is that everything is 3D. And I know I kind of just said that by saying that you need to understand Z levels. This is a good example right here. We started on kind of like a small cliff. These green and some gray arrows pointing down. That's basically telling us that right here is a downward slope. These darkened squares with dots depict open space. So right here, there's open space, one Z level down. Anything else, like out here in the blue, there might be something there, but it's more than one level down. Right here, we can see a top of a tree. Now, in case you don't believe me, if I bring back the menu, you're going to look at this button right here. Where is it? K. Look. So if I press K, that's now going to give us a small yellow X in the middle of the screen. You can move this around to find out what things are. So this right here is a chestnut. You come over here, it's going to tell you downward slope. It's going to tell you open space. And it's not going to indicate a tree, but if I was to leave the X right there and go down a level, look, I'm on an alder tree. So you kind of get the idea. This is where we are now. This is another slope down right under us. You press escape to get back out of that look function, and you're going to use escape a lot in this game. That's always how you get back to your previous, I guess just the previous screen, whatever you were at before. So let's look around a little bit. It looks like we're on some type of, like a ledge, I see this is a very big mountain to the north of us. I'm going to go up another level. Yeah, so it gets narrower. This looks like we got, I believe this is clay right here. Whoops, there we go. Oh, sandy, loam wall. Oh, there's actually some chalk right here in the surface. Sometimes you have to dig more for that. Sometimes it's right on the edge. Here's some yellow sand. This is probably more sand here. White sand, yeah. Okay. You want to kind of get an idea for what's around you. Now, the game is very nice. There are hotkeys. That way, if you won't really lose stuff. And when you first start the game, F1 is going to be the hotkey for your wagon. So if I was press that, I can find where my dwarves are again with no problem. Now let's look down. Let's see what's down here. This is a very steep mountain. You see there's only a couple squares wide before we have to go down another level. So it's not a big flat land. This down here is a very big flat land. And it looks like we actually have, okay, a brook, not a river. The numbers depict the depth of the water. You can turn that off with the lazy noob pack if you wanted to. I like to see it. I don't know why. It really doesn't make much difference to me, but I like having it there. And we'll probably, I'd say our dwarves will probably end up fishing down there. If we have any fisher dwarves, we will eventually. I kind of prefer that to hunting, just because with hunting you have to use ammunition for your bow and arrows, whereas fishing you can just fish. So you don't really have to waste any supplies. All right, I think maybe just because it's so close, I think we're going to start our fortress right below our wagon. So I'm going to go one down. And now this is the next most important thing, I believe, in Dwarf Fortress is designations. Lowercase d. There is a difference between capital and lowercase, so make sure you're not pressing anything additional. To dig, I'm going to want to go to designations. Now here's all the possible designations in this game. You have mine, channel, remove a stairway or a ramp, and then you have a couple stairways. You have the option to build ramps, chop down trees, gather plants. You get the idea. I'll show you all those in time, but right now we just wanted to dig into the mountain. So I'm going to choose mine, which is also D. Okay? Now, in the designation menu, you have two options. You can use your mouse, or you can use the arrow keys and enter. And I'm going to use the arrow keys and enter right now, just to show you how to do it. So let's move our yellow cursor to where we want to start digging. And press enter. Now I'm going to move it out of the way. You're going to see it's blinking. That's to tell me that that's the start of my selection. Now, the selection tool works in rectangular form. So wherever I place the next, whatever you want to call this, indicator, that's going to be the opposite corner of the rectangle, and it's going to fill in the square, everything in between. So I want to make a nice long hallway. You can press one at a time with the arrow keys, both on the arrow pad and the numpad. You can also, if you hold shift, the indicator will move 10 squares at a time in case you're trying to be very specific, if you want a very nice design or you need something a specific length. So I'm going to go, let's go 20 in, and I had already moved over 3. I want this opening hallway 3 wide, and that'll become more evident later, but basically for trade caravans, the traders' wagons can only access a trade depot as if they need at least 3 squares wide to accommodate their wagons. Now I'm going to press enter, and that's going to finish the mining selection. And you're going to see that everything in between has been filled in. Now this isn't mined yet. The dwarves will now have to mine it themselves. Any dwarves that have the mining labor enabled will come and complete this job. And to show you that, I'm going to press escape to back out again. And I'm going to press the space bar to resume, so the game will no longer be paused. I'm going to unpause the game, and you're going to see right here flashing that miners are coming, and they're going to start digging this out, and this looks like it's all sand. I'm going to stop them real quick. I'm going to press the letter K, and I'm going to look. Yes, we have sand. Now, I think in the newer version of Dwarf Fortress, you can plant crops on sand. I hope that's true, because I didn't really look for much water. I know the old way you needed to use water to flood a room. to get mud on top, but I believe you can plant in sand now, so that's not going to be a problem. I'm going to press escape, and they're going to get right back to work. And for some reason, they don't always go in perfect order. You'll see he decided he forgot a couple spots. They didn't mine this out yet, but it will all get done. And here we are. This is our first hallway that we've designated to be dug out. Oh, okay, you notice that zoomed out, I accidentally hit the scroll wheel on my mouse. So if you scroll all the way down, it'll zoom it back in. I prefer it zoomed in like this. I have seen people play it a little more zoomed out, but I like it nice and close. Now, while I'm thinking about it, I also, just inside somewhere, I want to dig about a 5x5 room, maybe 5x6. I think. Yeah, let's do a 5x6. I'm gonna press X to remove designation. I'm just gonna take this last. I made it 5x5. I can't count. No, it's 5x6. Okay. You'll see this will get cut out, and then everything on the inside will also get cut out. So I'll remove that designation as well, and they'll go ahead, and when I unpause it, they'll dig this out. Nothing's going to be done with this right now. This is where I will build my trade depot. It requires a 5x5 plot of land or whatever. Now you can see if I go back up, nobody's really done anything else because I haven't designated any tasks. Now, since this is all sand, it's rather easy for the miners to dig it out. I'm going to have them dig some of that out. I'm also going to go back up, and I'm going to do another designation, and I'm going to tell my woodcutter to chop down some trees. That way we can start gathering wood. So I'm going to press the letter T, and this is going to work the same way as mining. I'm going to select a corner, I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to go to select another corner, and you'll see that every tree within there has become darkened to let us know that it was selected to be chopped down. When I unpause the game, whoever our woodcutter is will go and he'll start chopping down trees. Right now, the logs will just remain right where the trees were. So I'll unpause that, and now we have a couple people working, and you'll see he's getting to work. And he's going to start chopping down trees, and he will now leave a pile of logs in place. There we are. And as I go back down, they finished. Now, at the end of this hallway, I want to build just a nice general stockpile just to get our fortress going. I want to get all of our supplies indoors. That way our dwarves can be protected. Also, right across from that, I'm going to build just a quick... I'm not going to build anything right there right now. That'll probably be farm plots. I'll make a hallway going down here. We'll put some farms down here at the end. And at the end of this hallway, I'm going to go and I'm going to select downward stairway. So I'm going to letter J. And I'm going to make this 3 wide just because this will be a high traffic area. And we don't want dwarves tripping and falling over each other. It'll slow their movement down a lot. And you'll see that I've designated some downward stairways. Press escape, and I'll press space to unpause the game. And we'll let our dwarves go about their business for a few minutes while these miners clear out our first stockpile room. Later on, I'll build some type of gate here down. Actually, what I'll do is I'll dig this out, and I'll build a drawbridge. And when the drawbridge retracts, it'll actually form a doorway. And like I said, dwarves will sometimes get sidetracked. They left a little bit here to still be dug out. So I'll let them be for a minute. And let's start working on the stairway. So I'm going to go down 1 level, and you're going to see, I'm going to pause the game real quick. You're going to see that there is some exposed sandy loam wall. Now, dwarves will not go down this stairway because they can't get back up. The best way to think about this is that they dug half of a stairway. So now we need to designate the other half of the stairway. You can do that by first by pressing the letter D for designations. Then you can either tell them to build an upward stairway, which is the letter U, or you can tell them to build an up-down stairway with the letter I. I prefer to do up-down stairways for my main staircase, because what that will do, it'll allow not only to go up, I'll be able to go down another level, and there will be more stairways there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an up-down stairway, and those are always depicted by the letter X, capital X. I'm going to unpause the game, and they're going to come start digging out. Now, because this stairway is complete, I can also start building and, mining on this second level down in my fortress. And you'll see the same thing has happened. Below this level, they have uncovered another layer of sand. It looks like I'm going to have to go very deep before I find rock. I might have to go up a couple levels and take that chalk out of the wall that we saw earlier. Now, we're going to build a stockpile in this room, and it's just going to be a general stockpile just so that we can get everything indoors from our wagon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here to our main control panel, and I'm going to see that the letter P will bring us to the stockpile menu. Now, these are all the different kinds of stockpiles you can make. Animals, furniture, corpses, you get the idea. What I'm going to do, because this is our first stockpile and I don't want to designate a million different stockpiles, we're going to do a custom stockpile. So I'm going to press the letter C, and then I'm going to press T to change the settings of this first stockpile. Now, you can see right now everything is kind of gray color. That's because everything's disabled right now. So I need to go through and enable different products to be able to store in that stockpile. And I'm going to do that by pressing the letter E. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to press E for food. And you can see that food is further broken down just like it was in our pre-embark screen. But I'm going to let all food for now. I'm also going to enable all furniture. I don't want them dragging anything dead, so no refuse and no corpses. I don't want them bringing stone here right now because that'll fill it up very quickly, and so will wood. So we're not going to enable wood, but we'll enable ammo and coins and bars, gems, basically everything else. That way everything gets brought in. We don't need to store animals in our stockpile. They can roam around and do whatever they want to do. And it doesn't say it here, but because we're done, we're just going to press escape. And now I'm going to designate that stockpile. And designating the stockpile is very similar to selecting trees or to designate areas to mine. We're going to move the cursor, press enter, go to where we want the other corner to be, and press enter again. And now when I unpause, all of our dwarves will start carrying supplies onto our stockpile. And we can actually use the letter K to look around, and we can actually see what some of these things are. We have some cave spider silk thread and bag, and it looks like that's all they brought so far is the thread. But they'll start bringing really any other supplies that we told them to bring with us. But you'll see that all of the dwarves are still hanging around this wagon. And in the next video, I will show you how to designate a new meeting area. That way, your dwarves will leave the wagon. Once that is done, we can tell them to dismantle the wagon, and we'll get a couple extra pieces of wood out of it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I know this was kind of boring. I don't want to make these videos too long, so it seems like the first couple are going to be slow, but then we're really going to get into it. So I'm going to pause the game now. There will be no playing off camera. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time.